Hi, everybody. Welcome on in. Just letting everybody in from the weight room. If you are in, jump in the chat and tell me where you're joining in from. And we're going to get started in just a moment. If you don't already have your workbook, at the bottom of the page that you joined on, you will see there is some links. There is a worksheet there, your workbook, which is what we're going to work through in today's masterclass, workshop, whatever we want to call it. Do, 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 do. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Nice to see so many of you joining us from all over. When you arrive here, pop your name in the chat and introduce yourself, share where you're coming from. We have people joining this from all over the world, which is really cool that there is a community growing of people that want to build a sustainable business long term. So we are going to dive right in. On the page that you are watching this on, you will see there are some links. There is a workbook there. So make sure you have that pulled up, whether you have it printed out or whether you have it on your screen and you have a piece of paper or on your computer that you want to work on it from. But that's what we're going to use to go through in today's workshop. So welcome on in. We're going to get started. So please use the chat box, chat function if you have any questions throughout the workshop today. Okay, so we've all got our workbooks. We're ready to go. All right, awesome. Well, hello everybody. For those of you that I haven't met before, my name is Emma Maidment. I am the co-founder of Flow States Collective, and I'm here today to talk about the end of hustle culture. So for those of you that don't know my story, I started way back when in the PR and marketing world. Got totally burnt out by that, didn't eat, pray, love, went and became a yoga teacher, traveled the world, did all the things, and basically was always on this mission of how can we create businesses that are truly sustainable, that actually sustain our life. And for me, the first part of that was starting my own agency and working to scale that and kind of getting to that, that glorified 10K month moment where you think, oh, I finally made it and I have proof of concept and everything's working really well, and realizing that I am the bottleneck in this business and everything is going through me. I'm totally overwhelmed. I have no systems, no processes. It's just been an absolute hustle to get to that point. And so I learned that lesson, and I learned it across a few different businesses, that once you get to a certain point, you need systems, processes, and scale to be able to scale. And so often it's like you get to that point and then you realize I actually can't take anymore. I can't take on any more clients, or I can't work in a way that isn't directly linked to me burning out. And that is what we call the founder's trap. When basically you realize that the buck stops and starts with you, and there's kind of nothing that you can really do about it. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in a way of really looking at the operating system upgrade. So when you get to that point in your business where you think, I'm starting to see success, I've got, people are buying what I'm selling essentially, but instead of actually feeling freedom, you feel more trapped than ever. So we're going to go through today the number one reason for burnout and a really simple shift to fix it. We're going to talk about the flow state scaling method that we have been developing and that we share with our clients. And we're going to talk about how to go from operator to architect and the secret to attracting pre-sold clients. So there are a few reasons that entrepreneurs hit this burnout point in their business. And often it's not necessarily the long hours per se or the effort that they're putting in. It's the nervous system. Now, the nervous system's capacity to expand. So what happens is the nervous system gets stuck in survival mode, reactive, stressed, capped. When it's in success mode, it's proactive, calm, and it can grow and evolve. So our nervous system doesn't actually want us to be successful. It wants us to be safe, which is why growth feels uncomfortable, because we have to expand past that point that feels like our safety zone in order to get to that other level. So what happens if we don't do this is burnout, right? We get to this point where we think, oh my goodness, this is just totally overwhelming. So before we dive too much deeper into that, I want you to start with just a little bit of a check-in with yourself. So if you have a look here on your workbook, you'll see we've got the founder's trap, the self-assessment. I want you to just take a moment to answer those out of 1 to 10 and write them down. You'll see those questions. So my revenue is directly tied to my personal output, 1 to 10, 10 being like 100%, 1 being not so much. I feel like the bottleneck in my own business. The thought of taking a week's vacation feels stressful or impossible. That's a big one for a lot of people. I'm tired of chasing leads, justifying my prices. I worry that more success will just mean more work and more burnout. So the nervous system isn't set up. So I want you to just take a moment to go through and write those down and share with me in the chat what your big moments are from there, or if you're seeing something, if there's a lot of tens. Yep, a lot of tens. Okay, well, you are in the right place. So yeah, it's a nice little moment just to go through, right? And really see, okay, where am I in this founder's trap? Have I basically created just a busy job for myself and I'm stuck? My income level is stuck. My business can't really grow, right? Because I'm sort of at this point and I can't actually take on anymore. Okay, so that might be a little bit revealing. Now, as I mentioned before, the nervous system is a big factor in all of this. So it's kind of one of the number one reasons why most entrepreneurs burn out. And it's because hustle coach culture has like really equated our success with stress. We've been really conditioned to believe that if we're not busy, if there isn't a sense of urgency, then we're not being productive. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate with that. But you can't build a business that's centered on freedom in a body that is just running on stress, right? I'm not saying that, a little bit of adrenaline isn't a bad thing. And sometimes we need that healthy stress, but often it just goes so far the other way. Now, the nervous system has a capacity, right? As I said before, its job is to keep you safe. So if you're constantly operating in this fight or flight mode, then you hit that capacity really quickly. And no amount of strategy, no funnel, no tactic, nothing you do can actually scale you beyond that because your internal operating system can't handle it, which means you will then self-sabotage. You will overwork but not actually see the results. You will fall into old patterns, right? It'll just be this kind of loop. So we need to essentially update the operating system. And a big part of what we do in that is just a really, really simple step process. So what we do, we call it our operating system upgrade. And essentially it's just a 3-step process. So number 1, acknowledge, name the feeling. Number 2, anchor it, get in your body. And number 3, shift your state. So every day as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you are constantly making decisions. Whether it's, with clients coming in or whether it's what you're choosing to act on within your business. And it can create feelings and sensations in the body. And when they don't get processed or when we don't ground them, it just compounds and builds up, and we end up this ball of stress. And then we can't actually make clear, informed decisions because our nervous system is just in overdrive, right? And so then self-sabotage happens. So number one, acknowledge it. Name the feeling. Don't bypass it. Just say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like when you name it, it takes away the power. Not I am overwhelmed. You make sure you're very intentional with the language because you're not defining it into who you are. You're experiencing overwhelm right now, or I am feeling overwhelmed, right? And then use a physical anchor to bring you back into the present moment. So I like to, for example, maybe take my shoes off and place my feet on the ground, or take a sip of water, just something that kind of brings you back into the present moment. You can pick up, a warm coffee mug and hold that. These physical sensations, they ground us back into our senses. They bring us right back in. Okay, I'm here and I'm grounded, and it signals to your nervous system that you are safe. I'm safe right here, right now. I've got my comfort water bottle. And then one little intentional action to shift your state. So this might be a 60-second little breathing exercise, a quick little stretch, something that actually completes this stress cycle that you found yourself in and moves you then from reaction to response. So when you notice that this feels overwhelming or this feels stretchy, or like saying yes, this opportunity feels a lot, it's acknowledge it, anchor yourself physically, and then shift your state. So I want you to kind of refer back to your workbook now and jump on where it says your nervous system state. And what are the primary triggers for feeling stressed or overwhelmed in your business? So what are the things that are actually causing this nervous system unsettledness for you? Maybe it's financial pressure, client demands, content creation. Maybe it's just, being visible. It feels very triggering for a lot of people. Getting out there on social media, it's like, oh, the nervous system's like, please, I don't want to be seen in that way. So then you'll see there's a 3-step reset, but I want you to personalize this. So for whatever that is right now, whatever that trigger is that is coming up that's most prevalent for you, I want you to go through and just write it down. Acknowledge it. What's the one phrase you can use to name that feeling, right? So for example, I'm feeling the pressure to perform. And then anchor that. What's the really simple anchor you can do? So find it, just try it now. Pressing your feet in the floor, grounding your hands, touching your desk, something that just makes you feel grounded and connected. And then act. What is that one small intentional action you can take that shifts your state in under 60 seconds? So while you're writing that, we'll do some breathing together. Even just feel it into your belly. Breathe it in and breathe it out. And breathe it in and breathe it out. So this is a really, really, really simple little task, but so, so powerful. So now that you're hopefully feeling a little bit more grounded, this isn't woo-woo. And I spent, over a decade teaching yoga and meditation. I've written a book that goes into a lot of the neuroscience behind all of this, about flow state, called Find Your Flow. But this is essentially rewiring your state. And when you're able to do that, it's like this little entrepreneur secret hack, because you're able to go into those spaces of expansion and tell yourself that you feel safe, rewire the neural pathways in your brain towards the success that you are desiring. Because there's no difference between someone doing what you perhaps want to be doing and you can see them doing it, and you're a human being, right? You can acquire the skills. You need the nervous system to expand so that you can hold that next level. So now hopefully you're feeling a little bit more reset. We've just internally upgraded your operating system. You're welcome. And we do that in a lot more depth inside of our 1% Club. This is just kind of a little taste of that. Now we can start to, once the internal state is ready for the expansion, we can hold it. We might be a bit nervous, but we're excited. We're ready to go. Then we can start to introduce our flow states scaling method. So when nervous system regulation meets strategic business systems, that's when you get sustainable growth, right? And that's what we want, because whilst it sometimes feels nice to have those like immediate quick wins, or, those I blew up my business overnight moments, which isn't true. We never know where someone actually starts from, just so you know. How does it feel in your body? What ripple effect does it have over your life? And is it sustainable? Can you sustain that level of intensity long term? Probably not. So our method and our proven framework that we use with all of our clients, that we've used across multiple businesses, and we've done everything from, online yoga and fitness to marketing agencies, We work with people across a variety of different industries and service providers, and product-based businesses. And essentially, we bring it down to this kind of one framework. So ideally, we're scaling with flow, not force. So we're not just pushing stuff uphill and making it work. We're actually being able to adapt and grow, just like we did with the nervous system regulation, but within a business system. So you can have all the systems in the world, but if you're totally burnt out, you can't work the system, right? You're kind of useless. So on the flip side, you can be the most zen, chilled out, regulated person in the world, but without systems, you're still going to stay stuck. So you need the two of them to work together. And that is where the real magic lies, is in this integration of them both. So we call this moving from the operator to the architect. So the operator is the person in the business that does all the work. They operate it. They're usually reactive. Their income is usually capped, and they're usually pretty exhausted, right? They're on a non-stop hamster wheel. The architect is designing the systems. They're being proactive. They're designing scalable income, and they feel energized and lit up because it's like, wow, this actually feels so in flow, right? This gets to be this good. So I want you to jump over to the workbook, and where it says part 2, operator to architect. And I want you to just reflect these 5 little spots there on what are your top 5 most time consuming tasks in your business. Categorize them as either operator, doing, or architect, designing. So most time consuming tasks. You'll know what they are based on what your business is at. And then have a look, what's coming through. Are you mostly in the operator, or are you in your architect era? Yep, I can see in the chat coming through, operator, operator, operator. There's a song about that, isn't it? Operator, operator. Okay, so once you've kind of got those down, what does this tell you about your current role in your business? That can be pretty revealing, right? Because if every single thing that you wrote down there is operator, then you've just built yourself a job, right? You're just a job rather than a business. There's a massive difference between doing a job and actually building a business. So how do we get out of there, my friends? Well, we build your freedom machine. This is essentially an engine that allows you to move, to transition from operator to architect. So it's a system, right? It's a very simple system. And when you see how systems can be broken down, it makes it so much less overwhelming, right? You stop second guessing yourself. You know exactly how to act because you're essentially just feeding the freedom machine, right? So number 1, attraction system. Consistently attracting your ideal clients. How? Things like content, partnership, visibility, right? That's the how, but the actual system that you're building is a client attraction system. Now, depending on your offer, depending on your skill set, depending on where your ideal clients are, will depend on what you're focusing that machine on. Number 2, you need a solid conversion system. So something that enrolls clients into your program, your retainers, your product, whatever it is, authentically. So some sort of a sales process, email sequences, enrollments, funnels, like what is that conversion system that you're using? And then delivery system. So an onboarding, program structure, delegation, shipping if you're sending out a product, like what is that delivery system? All those 3 systems work together to create your freedom machine. So jump into your workbook, and I just want you to do a quick audit of your business. So your freedom machine, a really quick little audit. Rate your current system on a scale of 1 to 5. So 5 meaning non-existent and 5 meaning fully automated and effective and like it is a humming machine that you're just feeding. Attraction system, how consistently are you attracting the ideal clients? How effective and authentic is your sales process in your conversion system? And your delivery system, how much of your delivery relies on your personal time? And then overall, what is the number 1 system that if improved would actually give you back your time and energy, the most amount of your time and energy? So for a lot of us, we might need the whole system. For some of us, it might be that, the conversion and the delivery is locked in and the attraction system needs to be built. When you break it down like this into systems, it makes it really, really clear to see where do I need to put my energy and my attention? Where is the part of my business that is leaking right now that I can get in there and, patch up and make better, as opposed to just trying to do all the things at once and it just being this like total mess. So, we've seen this play out consistently across the clients that we work with inside of our 1% Club. For example, we had a client, Sarah, health coach. She's really good at hormonal health. That's kind of her niche. Now, she was doing like 60 hours a week, working a lot, and endless free discovery calls. So just nonstop on discovery calls, right? And not really converting them. And so what we got her to do is then take that process and go, okay, so you're getting people on, the attraction system is working, but now we need to actually fine tune it. So we got her to build a quiz so that she could actually pre-vet these people that were coming through and kind of figure out, like, is she actually, the person that is for them? So this simple quiz actually led then to this value-packed email sequence. And then we dialed in the conversion process so that she's not actually doing free calls anymore. She's enrolling them through a paid workshop. And then we restructured that delivery from like these one-on-one off sessions into her signature program. And then within 90 days, she's doing 30-hour work weeks and she's selling out. And this system, then she can just continue to compound on top of it. Same thing with another practitioner, Chinese medicine practitioner we had, Monica. Amazing at what she does, but stuck in that classic service provider loop of just selling the session, right? Selling the $85, acupuncture session. What we found out is that she's really, really good at getting people pregnant. So instead of that person coming in that initial moment with her, lost you guys there. Instead of people coming in that initial moment with her and saying, just turn there we go. Instead of people coming in that initial consult and her giving everything away and then hoping that they book back in or hoping that they buy a pack, she was able to then go, okay, I am now going to create this as a fertility offering. And so I can actually have these dream clients that want the desired outcome come to me. We can put them on a package. We can actually give them results in between the sessions with things like, herbs, nutrition, all the advice. And now she has this beautiful high ticket fertility package that she's able to sell. She's getting dedicated, committed clients who are actually getting really amazing results and are so invested in the process. So these are things that, going from that risk of that one-on-one all the way through to, wow, now I actually have this business that can grow, that she can pour into with other resources and continue to expand her expertise in that niche. Now, this doesn't just work for health practitioners. You can take this across really any business. You need to look really specifically of what are you working with? What are the levers you can pull to make this machine work? We've even seen this work with clients that have come in that want to launch a podcast and have been able to apply this kind of same system to that and go and get a whole bunch of sponsorships. So that podcast is fully sponsored and ready to go before they even are ready to bring it out to the public, right? So you can take these systems and apply them across kind of any niche. It's about finding that leverage point and then packaging your experience in a way that honors your time and honors your client's transformation, and being really, really clear about that. Whether that's podcasting, whether that's retreats, whether that's, service-based industries, whether that's products, whatever it is, it's figuring out what that unique point is for you. So you find this in your authentic authority. And this is kind of the secret to attracting these clients that are pre-sold on what you already do, like high value clients, not just people that are like, oh, that sounds cool. Using the fertility example, when someone's in that space, they're ready to be supported. They're like, I am on a fertility journey, help me with that journey, right? Same in so many aspects, fitness, same with, weight loss, whatever the problem is that you're trying to solve. There's so many people out there that are wanting to have that problem solved. You need to present it to them in a way that it solves their problem and gives them a transformation that then makes it way more scalable for you as a business. So this is a framework that I've developed from my many years in public relations. And if you don't know anything about public relations, it is very much being able to take something, position it in a way, and build it up to be whatever it is that you want it to be, right? Literally anyone can use these techniques and become an authority, right? Nowadays, everyone's claiming to be an authority in everything. We want to build authentic authority. So we want to actually make sure that it's authentic to you and your knowledge and where you're at. For most people, they really downplay this. It's like, I'm not as good as that person. Or again, this is where the nervous system stuff comes in. You have to be able to expand to that next level to then step into your authentic authority. So we're just going to look at this because once you uncover your authentic IP, everything starts to change. So this is the authentic authority framework. You'll see it in your workbook over here, and it's on page 4. This is the process. So number 1, what is your unique IP? This is like your proprietary process. It's what makes you different. Codify this genius and give it a name. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, but everybody's a fertility expert. Everybody's a weight loss expert. Everybody's doing holistic chiropractic. Like, no, it only firstly seems that way because that's your world. So that's all you're seeing maybe in your algorithm or in your sphere. What do you bring to it? What's your authentic authority? So number 1, think of it from this point of view. What is the journey that you take your clients on, right? Using like a chiropractor, for example, they're not just, wham, bam, bam, in and out. Often there's a process that they bring to it that's their own interpretation of those techniques, right? It's their own little flair. You have the same thing within your business or within your client journey. So what is that journey taking them from step 1 to step 2 to step 3? And then can you give it a name? So the flow state scaling method, taking people from somewhere to this, the 5-step fertility reset. Think of something, coin it. It helps to really codify that. The second component of this is your signature story. Now, as an author, this is something I'm obviously very passionate about, but this is the narrative, your own personal narrative, your own personal story that connects with your ideal client's story. And that's what makes you relatable and trustworthy. Now, you don't have to have necessarily lived through the exact same thing, but there are often parts of your story that make you resonant. It's not about being relatable. It's about being resonant with people. When they feel that resonance, they trust you. There's instant trust. They're like, this is the person I want to work with because there's an energy resonance here, right? So this is why sharing your story is so powerful. And particularly in today's world where so much of our world is AI driven, AI can give incredible information. You can get all the knowledge, right? But it doesn't have your story. It doesn't have the soul, the human element. And that's what people want. More than ever, they want to connect with someone that they can trust, that they know has the knowledge, that they see as an authority, but they also see as someone they can resonate with that can help them. And then your platform. So where can you consistently share this message? Pick one. Now, I'm not saying pick one forever. You cannot be a one-trick pony on just one platform. And there are many ways, and we do a lot of this in our 1% Club of helping people find ways to kind of simplify that omnipresence of being everywhere. But for the purposes of this audit, I want you to just pick one, and I want you to base it off where your ideal client hangs out. So not where you like to hang out, where does your ideal client hang out? Whether Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, podcast, blogs, whatever. And then can you actually go all in on that platform for the next 90 days as we map out this plan? Because sometimes we try and spread ourselves way too thin initially, and we need to just get a rhythm going. A big part of the way in which that we teach content creation and social media is in systems and in flow, so that it's not this forced, oh my gosh, I have to post, and it just feels, ugh. We help you actually create a system around it so that it's just effortless, that you can take ideas, implement them, get them out there, move on. But for now, think about what is that one platform that you can also practice sharing that message in. And then when you get the 3 of those working together, you start to become an undisrupted authority in your space. So essentially, component 1, your unique IP, component 2, your signature story, component 3, your platform. And then you become this undisputed authority in your area. So there's a couple of little quick win ways that you can do that. For example, start a weekly perspective-based newsletter. So sharing not just facts and information, but your perspective on them, right? Anyone can Google 5 ways to get more protein into my diet, but what's your perspective on it? Maybe you're a busy mum and this is how you implement protein into your life as a busy working mum, right? That speaks to someone very specific as opposed to just a generic, here's 5 ways to get more protein. So put that into a newsletter, because we want to be getting people yes, we can attract them through these social media platforms, but we want them onto an owned channel. You want to actually have, it's like, I have been saying this for over a decade in running marketing workshops. Emails are king, they never die. Because no matter what the social media platform pops up on, you can find those people again when you have their emails. And if your Instagram and your Facebook or whatever it is goes down, you actually have something that you own, something that you can contact people with. It's, I see it so often. I have clients that have navigated, having their accounts hacked or having their accounts shut down. And suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, there goes my lead generation. What am I going to do? So this is why having that base of building that up not only positions you as an authority, also protects your business. So definitely, if you're not doing that, put that on your top priority list. And the other things you can do is go live once a week and answer questions. So maybe you're going live purely just to practice the art of going live, to practice the art of speaking about this IP that you created, about your perspective on whatever the topic is. Even if nobody's watching, it's a way of practicing that, so that when you get on podcasts, when you get on stages or whatever it is, you're able to just be articulate about what it is, the core message that you're trying to get across. That was a bad example. Because you've practiced it, right? You've practiced speaking to the camera. And again, it positions you as an authority. Oh, there's that girl. She's talking about that thing again. And naming a unique framework, right? Naming it so that you can keep referencing it again. In the future, this looks like podcast interviews, media features, book deals, public speaking, all of those bigger visibility pieces. And again, that's something that we teach in our 1% Club, because it is really important. Having an Instagram page, having a Facebook page is a page. It's not a personal brand, right? Personal brand is spread wide, right? It is when I can Google you and I can find more than one Instagram source, right? I can find, oh, there's an article, oh, there's a blog, oh, there's this. It confirms the authority. It's when you see the as seen in on a web page, it's borrowing trust from those logos. It's telling you, oh, wow, this person must be good because it's featured in these places, right? So we're going to kind of put this together into now your next actions that you're going to take, because all of this stuff is great and it's great to think about it and talk about it, but implementation is where it's at. And often there is a big gap between information, transformation, right? That's what we're trying to get. I'm going to get the information, I'm going to use it to get to my transformation. What's the missing piece? Implementation, execution. That's where a lot of people go wrong. And also where a lot of people maybe go, balls to the wall for one moment in time, and then they lose that momentum. Momentum then starts to kill growth, and you have to work really hard to get it back again. So we do all of this inside of our 1% Club Accelerator group. We work with people for an ongoing basis. We start with a 12-week, we go through everything in your business. So we make sure that it's really, really high touch. We don't just teach you the methods, we're building it with you. So we kind of lean right in. And then from there, we cover kind of everything that we've spoken about tonight. We go through building the authority engine, the conversion machine, the delivery system, and then constantly updating on what's new with AI, how can we apply this, how can we make this better, keeping you accountable to your growth. So typically we will start with a strategy session. So if you haven't heard of these before, I do soulful strategy sessions with people. These are a one-on-one deep dive into your business. The reason that I love to start with the one-on-one is because a lot of people will just buy a course, right? I'm just going to pick this random course out of, I think I need this, right? And then firstly, don't actually do it. Secondly, it's not tailored to where you're at. And this is why with the work that we do in Flow States Collective, in the 1% Club, in Soulful Strategies, and all the things that we do has such a personalized approach, because it's not one size fits all. Not every business is the same. You can literally have the same business in the same niche doing the same offer, but it's so different because the people running it are different, right? Their nervous systems are different. Their belief systems are different. So it does need to have a real individual approach. And then from there, once you kind of have that individual blueprint, hey, this is my strategy, this is my zone of genius, this is what I'm working on, then you can continue to take that and scale that. So for some of you, you'll be at a place where you think, you know what, my business really needs somebody's expert eyes on it. And I just know that I can be unlocked in that way. And then you can go through into the 1% Club and take all of that individual blueprint and actually apply it to build the authority engine, to build the conversion machine, to build the delivery system. Because for a lot of people, it's not necessarily the knowledge. Like I'm saying this to you and you're probably like, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. Like I can do that. I can do that. And then when you go to do it, something else happens. You get pulled away, you get pulled a different direction, or you have some idea and you think maybe that idea is better, or you see something on Instagram and you're like, that person's doing it that way. Maybe I should do it that way. And then you spiral and da 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 da. So this is why you need an individualized blueprint and plan based on where you're at in your business, where you're trying to get to, what are the steps that you're going to take to get there, and then actual support to implement that, to actually build these systems, to actually look at where are the holes in my system, what are the different tactics and strategies and things I can use to really, build that back up. So my invitation for you today is kind of two-pronged. If you feel like, okay, I definitely don't know what I'm doing and I really need individual eyes on my business and I just don't have a strategy, I don't have a plan, I'm just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, start with a soulful strategy session. I'm going to work with you one-on-one. We are going to do some questions before the session so that I get a sense of where you're at. Then we dive in and we pick it apart. We look at what's working, what's not working. We look at what your vision is and how to bring your vision to life. Because often you can have the vision, but you don't actually know the steps to bring that vision to life. It can feel like, I want to create a business that does this, but then how do you actually do that? So we really, really, really drill that down into strategies, into whether it's, again, what engine do you need to focus on building more? Is it brand? Is it systems? Where are the holes? And then you can take that and apply and join our 1% Club. Now, this is our intimate group container where, again, we work really, really closely. So you're in a supportive group environment, but it's not just a course where you're just watching videos and, maybe having a chat here and there. We meet fortnightly with the founders in our community. We work really closely with them to help them build these systems in their business and then continue to scale that. Because often what happens along the way is there'll be a hiccup or there'll be a confidence something or there'll be something goes wrong and you have to put out that fire. Having a dedicated team of people around you that can help you fast tracks that growth so much more than you just spinning your wheels on your own. So if you're interested in joining either of those things, you'll see on the page you're on now, you can book your soulful strategy session, or you can, if you know what, my strategy is dialed in, but I don't have any of these systems. So like, I know where I'm going, I know how to get there, but I haven't built any of the systems. I need to join straight away into 1% Club. You can apply there. It's application only because we want to make sure that we can help you, that you are in the right room for you, for your growth, for your goals. We're not just trying to sell you something, some sort of random program. We want to make sure where you're at, we can really work with you to get you to the next level, to get you to that gap of, what it is that you're trying to work with. So if you're really ready to stop trading time for money, to stop the cycle, the hamster wheel cycle that you're already on, then I invite you to take this action, because having someone's eyes first and foremost on your business fast tracks it, right? There's no guessing. There's no doing some random course online and going, how can I kind of apply that to my area or my niche? Or how can I make this random template PDF that I download work for me? As opposed to, here is someone literally helping me, right? It's about me and my business. And then we bring that into an environment where you're actually supported to grow that momentum and scale it. That is the process that we work with. So if you have a look at your worksheet, you'll see you've got your 90-day plan there. Based on that, what are the top 3 actions that you're going to take in the next 90 days to start to move from operator to architect? So action and why it matters. And if you don't know the answer to that, then you probably need to start with the soulful strategy session. Because if you're just doing things because it sounds good or because you saw an Instagram reel that told you to do it, it's not actually intentional towards your own growth and the vision that you have for your own business, then, maybe that's something to look at. And then, so break it down, 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, right? The action that you're going to take and why it matters, why it is needle moving in your business and not just busy work, right? Not just doing something for the sake of doing it, but actually moving you further towards the goal that you're trying to achieve in your business. And if you're really feeling ready to build this all with support, accountability, and a proven system, then I invite you to either jump straight into a soulful strategy session or apply for the 1% club. So the difference being, or the process being, if you do the soulful strategy and you decide to join the 1% club after that, we take the cost of the soulful strategy off your first month of 1% club. So I don't know, you can try it, see if you want it, and then go, okay, great, yeah, I'm in, and you're not kind of paying twice, basically. Or if you know what, my strategy is solid, I just really need to build the systems around all this. I need to work on the brand side of things. I need to work on, the systems and the funnels and the automations and the back end side of things. Then you can apply directly for 1% club. So are there any questions? You can pop them in the chat. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to, drop me a line, drop us an email, tell us what you got from this masterclass. We love hearing your feedback. And yeah, you can scroll down to apply for either of the options that I mentioned below. If you have any questions, you can also email us if you're not sure what is the right pathway for you. But here is to building a flow-based business and scaling with ease. Doesn't mean that it's easy, but it means that you can make it a lot more easeful for yourself when you really break things down and systematize it. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back with you again soon.